Ay, this ain't a drill. Only time I'm playing is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we bout to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. 716, make them pay me some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and him. Talk about the Bills dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo don't make a kill when we talk about the Bills. Dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
What's going on? Welcome back to another live episode of the Post Podium Podcast on the Buffalo Fan Base Network. What's going on, everybody? We are so happy to be here right now. I promise you I'm not going to say everything twice the entire show, but let me tell you, this is we got a great show lined up for you, so strap in, grab your popcorn. Definitely not popcorn. Popcorn.
Whatever you do in your own time.
I ain't no T.O., so I ain't going to say it right every time. But
So can I say one thing?
Before you do that,
no, for real.
This is the home of the all truth.
No, you can say it.
No sodium takes.
You can say that.
I can say that?
Well, you can't because we're brought to you by Salt.
Brought to you by Salt.
NaCl, baby. So,
okay.
What I was gonna say is, you got a red rodent over there.
A red rodent?
Yeah, that's supposed to be on my side, but it's on your side. My mouse.
No. No.
Oh, we got a conundrum.
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay,
there you go.
Yeah.
All right,
crisis averted. I'm about to say,
live.
my fingerprint gonna be gone.
No. We good. Listen. We want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Billy D was going on. No Bones was going on. Thomas was going on. Lynn was good.
Got Billy D. Williams in the house.
Let's start out with Balin Spectator.
We got a Balin Spectator in here?
I don't know when he got signed, but he's around here somewhere.
Oh,
what number is he wearing?
Balin Spectator?
Balin Spectator, yeah.
8 or 9, I don't know.
I think the idea is to create rage within the both of us about injured players that don't stay on the field and get paid money, and I don't know. That's not really.
Yeah, that's all right. I thought Balin was adequate when he was playing, but he just never plays. That's the problem.
Yeah. Thoughts on a defensive tackle from Maryland? Billy D says.
Billy, you know where we're going with it. You want to start there?
No, because I got some serious juice.
Okay.
That I would love to start with. How do you want to do this? You want to go stuff we heard?
Billy, I got you, fam. Just hold on a second. Because, this is my house. The combine, this is my time.
Listen.
All y'all talking about all that NFL mumbo jumbo, the Eagles did this, the Vikings. I don't know none of that. But what I do know is about college football. So we'll talk about that later.
Okay, perfect. Listen.
Yo, juice, I want it.
The juice is loose with this one. All right, check this out. So my NFL source, right? Because I got an NFL source.
Yes, you do.
Turns out the Jets want Justin Fields real bad. And that is the best news for Bills fans ever. Go ahead and get him. What is he going to do to us?
I believe it. You know what? And I can segue that into the combine just a tad. This combine, this year, is going to make Justin Fields, Drew Lock, Zach Wilson good money this year. Why? Because the quarterback class is terrible.
It is.
Terrible. I mean,
terrible. Cleveland Jr. in the house.
Cleveland Jr.
All right. So here's the other thing. They want nephew. They want Will Johnson real bad. They want the Jets at 7. They told Will Johnson, if you're there, we taking you. Period. Right. So they want him bad. Okay. Here's the other thing, and this is aside from the Jets. We're talking about the quarterback carousel right now, right? The Giants want Sam Darnold. Can you believe that? I mean, with the year he's had, he was up under a good offensive coordinator. I think Daboll could do some things with Darnold. I don't think it's going to work the same way it did in Minnesota, but what do you think?
I think it's like smoke, but I do think that like I said, looking at the quarterback class, you're talking about Jackson Dart in the second. You're talking about Jalen Milroe, who they really seem to like. They really like Milroe right here.
Okay.
But I think Shedeur Sanders is falling out of favor quickly.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the Flash?
It's his mouth. It's his mouth. It's who he thinks he is, but he's not. So I'll get into that a little later. But yeah, I think if you're looking at Cam Ward, he's going to be gone probably number 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, after that, the Giants and Jets. If you're talking about coaching for your job, especially the Giants. With Dayball. So he's going to go for a sure thing. Darnold. You got Malik Neighbors. You know what you can do. You know what you can do. So put him with a good quarterback. Somebody that's done it in the league before, and that's why they're talking about, let's do it with Darnold.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, that's their plan A. Obviously, plan B, if they can't get Darnold, is to go get a quarterback in the draft. Mm-hmm. Look, the Giants have kind of been my second team just because they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl twice. You know what I'm saying? That has to be my number 2 team, just by default. But this last bit of juice, for those of you that are joining us that are new to the show, we are all about accountability, right? And sometimes we look at some of the things that the Bills do and we wonder why would you do that? Well, this is one of those things, okay? And I'm not going to answer this. I want you guys to answer, okay? So here's what happened. There were several reports from several players during the player interviews at the Combine. And when they met with the Bills, several players reported that their experience in that meeting was terrible. And what they reported was the Bills brass or whoever was asking the questions or whatever, it wasn't Sean or Bean because they have to maintain deniability, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, they would ask a player a question in terms of like schematically, what type of player are you? You know, are you this or that? And the player, I mean, every player typically gets coached to say, I'm willing to do whatever I'm asked to do to some degree. They have to say that, like, that's the, general statement they have to give, right? Well, as the player is giving this statement, the Bills person, whoever's asking the questions, would like get loud and interrupt and no. Stop BSing me and tell me what you are right now. Right? And it wasn't just that, it was the tone, and so the point I'm trying to get to is all of these players that went through these Bills interviews came out of the meetings all saying the same thing, which was, I hope the Bills don't draft me. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, when I thought about this, and I was talking to Bills alumni Damaris Johnson, which is, for those of you that don't know, that's like my pop. That's like my spiritual dad, right? Anyway, we're talking about this, and the only thing that came to my mind that made any kind of sense was this has to be some sort of psych evaluation. Mm-hmm. Why else? You know what I mean? Like, these are players that you're going to draft, and you don't want them to come into the building with some sort of complex that you hate them, right? But why? I mean, you can answer this if you want. Anybody else who wants to hop in the comments and give me an idea of why the Bills would go this hard to really hammer rookies and put them in an emotional or a mental state of, I hope they don't draft me. Mm-hmm. You hammer these players maybe to see if they can handle the pressure of being grilled like that, to see what their breaking point is before they get upset and try to choke somebody or something like that. But that's all I could come to was this has got to be some sort of psych evaluation to see how they handle pressure or how they handle, discord and, in communication or whatever. But what do you think?
No, I think you're right on psych eval, but at the same time, they all do off the wall crap. I mean, you figure what the 1 year the guy asked about somebody's mom being a crackhead or something like that, and how they got this is like I said this many times on the show. This is adulthood. People can be crass, people can be rude, people can be whatever the case may be, and these are millionaires that they're talking to you. And for you to say it's not Sean or Bean, yeah, sure. I lean towards the latter though. The former, I don't think McDermott would do that. I do lean towards Bean. Interactions with Bean that I've had. He's not going to talk to me like that, but at the same time, you know, at the same time you get that feel that he can be that way.
Right.
So no, I think I did read, you know, Will Johnson. I had an article where he was talking about Demaryius and how he, you know, Buffalo, blah blah blah. LaQuint Allen, which I think Kev asked about, which was the first profile I did. He said he knows the area. He liked the meeting. Kenneth Grant, which full disclosure, he's a weakling.
LaQuint?
No, Kenneth Grant.
Really? Oh, you going based off the bench press?
How?
You gotta wait till his pro day, bro.
No, pro day is all a lie.
Why?
Pro day, it's always a lie.
The workout, the bench press at the pro day is a lie?
Well, not the bench press.
That's
So you're
all
saying
I'm
he'll go from 22 to like 34 in 2 weeks?
No, I don't think he's gonna make that.
He needs to go for 30 for sure. 340 pounds. You're not hitting 30.
What if he puts up 28?
I don't like it.
What?
Don't like it,
That's messed up,
dude.
That's messed
when
up.
I played nothing ball, and when I did 31. So if he can't do what I did, no, he had a all world situation. He was in Michigan.
Okay. To be fair, how many defensive linemen regularly, or let's just say on average, are putting up 30 plus bench reps?
How many defensive linemen are 340 pounds though?
Yeah, but
when I hear 340 pounds, there's good muscle and there's just bulk. And if I hear 340 at 6'3" and you did 22 on the bench, that tells me you gonna like the wings in Buffalo. That tells me something. I could be wrong.
But what if he's technically sound though?
Nah.
I mean, okay. Then let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. How do you value Ed Oliver right now?
How do I value Ed? Well, see, Ed Oliver's okay. I value Ed Oliver as a speed rusher. But see, Ed Oliver, there's no component to his game that's power because he's only 275 pounds.
Okay.
See, that's the difference. You know, when we got Marcel Darius, I think he had 19. I'm like, yo, get this clown out of here. 19, that's a warm up. But at the same time,
wait a second. Okay, just so everybody understands, Keyshawn is how tall?
6'6".
And how heavy?
Now or when I played?
When you played?
305.
Right. So you're coming from a place of what you put up, right? Because you are NFL size.
I was weak for Stephen Paella. He was like, who's the clown on the bench? 331? Man, that's... Please. I ain't even switch till I hit 35. But, you know, I mean, when I look at this, I'm looking for a nose tackle. I'm looking for that guy that's going to solidify the middle of the line so Oliver and we'll say Rousseau and whoever else can do their work. And I see Grant as bulky. Mm-hmm. I see him as, you know, a one-on-one man beater, but I'm looking for that stalwart. I mean, for instance, you contrast him with Jordan Phillips. You know, there's another Jordan Phillips, right?
There's in the draft, you mean?
Yeah, from Maryland.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember how tall he is, but he said he benched like 450 and he squatted 750. If you watch his tape, I need this guy in the building.
Yeah, but is he? Does
not
he play?
For the size, but I need him for the in the building. He's not really big.
Yeah,
like he's maybe 315, maybe.
But does he play like Jordan Phillips though? Like, he's
a nose tackle. He plays everything from 0 all the way to 9. Oh, and when I tell you, have you ever seen a nose tackle with a mean spin move?
No.
Watch Jordan Phillips.
Well, yeah, Jordan Phillips. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, this man just manhandles centers left and right. I didn't like his combine performance, but I did like what I saw on tape. And, you know, I liked his performance in the measurables, but I thought he was a little bit out of whack compared to what he was going against because he wasn't the size of like a Caldwell or Alfred Collins or even my guy Deion Walker. But I think he's gonna hold his own. And I'm telling you right now, this draft is gonna be the one that you're like, what do we really need in the first round? Because everything is so valued. Everything I want is like in the 3rd to 5th round, which is what I want. Not that I'm settling for.
Okay.
So this is gonna be fun.
So
I saw you chuckling over. What you got?
Well, I mean, your boy Billy D with the code 45 said I max out at 32 at 210.
There you go.
I mean,
all right.
You want to give him a phone call? Like, see if the Bills can.
As long as he's not like 360 pounds, we're good.
So 360, you got to be able to get how many reps?
360, you should definitely be about 35.
35? Jeez. I mean, I don't even know if at 360 you need all of that. Like, think about it. Like, you have so much girth.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and I guess this is kind of what the point I'm trying to get across not get across, but the point I'm trying to make about Grant is when you're that big, 22 reps is a little different than, being 275 and putting up 22.
I mean, that's true, but I want guys that are not just going to lean on somebody. You know, I want the guys that's going to be able to move somebody. And obviously the bench press is an end all be all because I'm not really a big bencher. I'm not that great at bench. I'm not gonna lie to you. But at the same time, when you're in an organization or a Michigan, a Texas, or Alabama, where you have the state of the art facilities where you work on this all the time, I expect a little more than 22.
Okay, all right. So are you saying you're not gonna give him? And I don't want to spend the whole show talking about Kenneth Grant.
We can't. This is it. No, Kenneth. Go ahead.
Fair. That's fair. No. So if he goes into his pro day and he puts up 28 to 30, you let him go after that?
30? I think we'll see. This is another caveat. I think it's fine if you're not talking about one of the most elite defensive tackles in this draft. I think he hurt himself to me, because you're talking about his counterpart. I forgot his counterpart's name, but I don't think he's good at all. But he still didn't work out on Friday because he knew he was going to test bad. So I give Grant credit for the test that he did, even though he didn't do the field work at all either. So what are you hiding? That's my thing. What are you hiding? When you go to the field, when you go to your pro days, they're gonna mask the stuff you can't do and let us see the stuff you can do.
Right.
And I don't like that. That's why I say pro days for me are like whatever.
So quick sidebar. Do you think we're slowly approaching the age in college football where more and more players, because there's NIL, because there's they're making money earlier on and they're kind of not in as much of a vulnerable position to the NFL. Do you think more and more players start to get to the point where Shedeur is, which is just like, look, you can look at my tape and see that I can play the game. You can watch my tape. You can come to my games and you can see what I can do. You can see what it looks like when I throw the ball. I don't need to go to Indianapolis or wherever else you're going to hold the combine to show you in that setting out of my comfort zone. When I get in, because here's the other part too before you answer. Mm-hmm. When I get onto an NFL team, I'm not being put, especially at quarterback, I'm not being put in an uncomfortable situation if the head coach knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? If a guy is drafting me as a quarterback, they know how they're going to use me, and they're going to put me in a position to do what I'm good at first as I develop. You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think Shedeur is a good example for that, only because the perception of him after what he said when he said that was screw this guy. A lot of people that probably had him on their boards removed him. There were a couple brass guys that make these decisions that said, he's not coming to me. I don't care where he goes. He's going to fall. Yeah. The perception with him is that he's going to fall because he said, you see what I can do, but we see a limited quarterback. We see a guy who doesn't have arm strength, a guy that's not fast, a guy that stays in the pocket all day long. When is it going to work in the league? Especially if you go to a top 2 or top 3 drafting team, which is a bad team usually. But no, I know what you're saying. I get it, and I think that's kind of the issue with regards to the pro days because the teams don't see what they want to see; they see what you want them to see. So they say, okay, I don't want to throw this ball,
right? And
unless it's a private workout, teams just they just go with it and just watch. Then they have you come in and try it again. But it's just like for me. I don't mind the guys when I watch the combines that slipped and fell. The guys you could tell were out of position. The guys that you could tell were uncomfortable, because the fact that they could have not done it and still did it speaks a lot to me. Because you could just go and bench press because you can put up 40 on the bench. You can go and run because you run 4.3 and then do nothing else. And that's what some guys did, and I don't like that as much as I like the guys that do everything or mostly everything.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, Kev said, we're probably going to end up with that 6'3", 229-pound safety. Is that a problem? Is that no problem?
Right.
Yeah, what are you saying?
Godsend if that happens.
Oh, my God.
Lynn says, if a person is not interested in sharing his abilities, I believe it should move them down the board.
Yep.
I mean, I think we're seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
But shoot, I mean, for what the Bills have been trying to do in terms of staying consistent and playing, consistently winning football, if we're gonna keep drafting later in the draft, I'll take it. Like, keep dropping. Like, this is and that's kind of why I'm not mad at what happened with Kenneth Grant. It's like 22 reps. Okay, cool.
No, I'm not.
Maybe
I'm,
he doesn't want to
I'm
play for
nitpicking.
some of these.
Yeah, no, I'm
terrible
nitpicking
teams.
about that. I'm nitpicking. But the thing is, like, when everybody talks about how he's going to test out of Jimmy's an athlete, this and there, you see that you're like, your claim to fame is strength, and you got cornerbacks that mention more than you right now.
Yeah.
So, and I saw somebody said something, I forget. But anyway, I didn't see anything. To piggyback on that Eamon Worry point, I don't know if you caught it, that Sean McDermott said, or was it Bean? I think it was McDermott said it's gonna be tough for a rookie safety to get on the field when they were talking about Bishop, and I'm like, why?
Well, Bean did specifically say they're gonna trust in Cole. I mean, he didn't say those specific words. I don't have the quote in front of me, but he did say we're gonna be relying on Cole Bishop.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't take much to read into that to say, that plus the money, Cole Bishop's gonna be a starter.
Oh, of course.
He didn't say anything about Taylor Rapp's position though. But I mean, the fact that he's got one more year and another void year after that or something like that on his deal, I think. Unless everybody else that makes sense is off their board at that point and the 6'3" safety is staring them in the face, I don't think they go safety early, to be honest. I mean, from what it sounds like they're confident in the guys they have, and they'd really prefer to use these blue chipper picks for positions of need, which is corner, defensive tackle, and pass rusher.
Yeah, I mean, I also got out of McDermott. He said there's no guarantees Cole will start. He said he needs to see what he looks like when he comes back. He wants to know, does he come back as an animal? Does he come back as a demon? Is he coming back not thinking and just playing? And it was McDermott that said that alluded to the fact that it's tough for a rookie safety to start in this defense. I don't think it is if you draft bona fide blue chip safeties. So that's the difference. If you telling me Malachi Starks, if he gets to 30, which he won't, is going to be sitting on the bench behind Cole Bishop and Taylor Rapp, Buffalo, well, the people that know, they would have an aneurysm. I would be one of them. If even Maury was there, would you put him on the bench at 6'3", 2? No, behind Taylor Rapp, and for what?
Right.
I mean, these are the things that scare me when they say we want to get in the room and talk to the guy for 15 minutes, and I'm like, I'm scared now because we've seen this movie before. Who's going to bring a notebook? Who's going to have a coloring book? Who's going to? I mean, even Worry, it might work to his advantage because he had that Jesus rubber band thing,
okay.
Yeah. So they'll probably ask about that if he has a meeting with them. They'll probably tear that to shreds and love him up for that, which I'm cool with. Just find something. Find me a blue chipper that finds something. And I don't care that he ran a 4.3, and I don't care that he had a 43-inch vertical. I don't care about none of that. I care about he's a good football player.
God, you just stabbed me in the heart with that. Oh man.
No. I know what you're saying, but no. Yeah. What I'm saying is when you're talking about oh man, you're doing an interview and all of a sudden he has a notebook. He has it. I don't care about that stuff.
Well, yeah.
I care about the stuff that matters, not that he has to be, because I think Bean said they got to be a good football player first, and I'm like, we'll get speed if they're
right.
That ain't working out for you, brother. Fix it.
I think that's the thing that really bothered me about that press conference in general at the Combine is they were asking him. Let me preface by saying this: I have a very strong understanding of what Bean's job is in these interviews, which is to maintain their strategy, not give away tips or any information that could compromise their plan going into the draft. I get it. But when you use the words that he uses when he's asked about speed or when he's asked about measurables and stuff like that, there's always this qualifier of they have to be a good football player. And I mean, to be honest, some of the moves that he's made have really spat in the face of that entire point that he's tried to make. I mean, let's just look at Keon Coleman last year. Yeah. Like, I get that he was a football player, but he wasn't technically sound in very many areas other than catching the football and using his athleticism over smaller corners, right? And that's no slight on Keon Coleman. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. You use the gifts that you're given,
And
right?
it's gonna make him a lot of money.
Exactly.
It's gonna make him a lot of money.
But don't, this goes back to that same analogy that we keep bringing up, which is don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if your goal is to not give up information, I've heard a lot of other GMs do that in a way that doesn't tell me, it doesn't make it seem like you're just straight up lying through your teeth.
Yeah, they don't have G14 classified folders on the thing. We can't open this. Nope. You gotta
Right.
They spin stuff. They tell you stuff, but then they don't tell you stuff. Then they lie to you. They make it sound fun. All right, guys, I don't want to get into that. Please get into something. Right. Please.
Right. So the next order of business that I would like to move into, did you have any thoughts on, because I know we talked about the Shakir deal. You liked it.
I do like it. I like the Shakir deal. I think, I don't know. I didn't like his reaction. He seemed like it was a blessing. No, you worked hard for it. He was like, it's surreal. No, it's not surreal. If you saw what you did on tape last year, you should have said, you know what? I deserve that 17 mil. If you saw what you did on tape coming from when you started to now, you say, you know what? I'm an integral part of this team.
Yeah, I like that thought.
So I like Shakir. I like that he's humble, but at the same time, at some point I want somebody to be like, you know what? All right, next we on. You signed $100 million a year contract. All right, we on the business now.
Right.
That's what I want. We on the business now. We about to go win the Super Bowl. That's what we do.
I mean, it's definitely an answer that the team would like.
Mm-hmm.
And look, this is a business first, and this is a multi-million-dollar corporation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time when you interact with an employee of a Fortune 500 company or something like that, there are going to be company lines that you're going to hear. So I don't want to sit here and pretend like all of these dudes are supposed to be really McReal face and just say all of the realest things in the world, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we have James Cook for right now.
When he talks, he says some stuff.
Right? He might say some real ish, but not everybody's like that, right? But I do love your point, and I think the heart of your point that you're trying to make is look, I want players here that know they're good and know what they're worth, and are not of the mindset that things have to be like, basically they don't need to be coddled. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I think what we've seen now with this culture that the Bills have in place is they prefer to go for the guys with the character first, and then if they have the measurables to match, that's just icing on the cake. Mm-hmm. If they're a good football player on top of that, that's the cherry on top. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the talent deficit between what we saw the Eagles do on Super Bowl Sunday and the game against the Chiefs, I mean, it's a scary thought to imagine what would have happened in the Super Bowl. I still maintain that I think the Buffalo Bills would have made the game a lot more entertaining than it was, but we were this close from beating the Chiefs, which means we're like neck and neck with the Chiefs. And if the Eagles are that much better with all the talent that they have, what does that say about the talent that we have?
Well, if you let McDermott tell it, it's about coaching. He said they asked him something about that, about the defensive line or whatever, and it was an obscure answer, but he said it comes down to coaching. It comes down to getting the guys ready to go. Like, no, you can coach up as much as you want, but sometimes they ain't got it.
Yeah.
And this team on the front four ain't got it. You're talking about Quentin Jeffersons and Austin Johnsons, and you ain't got it. Because none of those guys are going to roster in Philly. And I think there was a quote in McDermott's press conference where he said, the thought, what did he say? The mindset going into the season for our players should be, I'm going to make this team. No, it should not. The mindset, I'm going to start. The mindset is, I'm about to be a star player here. Because that forces, if you don't do it, that forces the guy ahead of you to be better.
Right.
And that's where iron sharpens iron. They always say iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. I love that one.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
All right. Next thing is on my list anyway. Your reaction to the Quentin Morris stuff that Ian Rappaport put out.
It is what it is. For me, Quentin Morris, what are you going to do with it? You know, are you going to upgrade it? Or are you going to just make Zach Davidson that number 3? You know, are you going to use
He could take it.
He could take it, but the thing is, you did nothing then, because in my mind, if you're going to get rid of a cornerstone guy that you talk about knows the system, a guy that's contributed on special teams, a guy that's done everything you've asked for 4 years, and just put a practice squad player in it because the money didn't make sense, is crazy. Right. You know, you got to invest somewhere with that. You got to try to get better. We've seen Zach Davidson, and he was on the team for 3 games, 2 or 3 games on the actual roster in dressing. So I didn't see enough out of him, and I think if you're going where I think this team wants to go, you can't wait for somebody to maybe get better. It's time to bring somebody in that is better, you know, definitively.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I need to sound the alarm real quick. Look, this thought was triggered by Lynn here, who says, I really think McDermott blew it with Elam and damaged the guy. I listened to Brandon Beane and his defense of Keon Coleman.
Can I sock him out now or later?
So you understand what I'm saying? This idea that we have to back off of our young players because they're young. If that was an issue, why did you draft him? You don't. First and foremost, look, I get that every player that comes in is in development. That's very different from coming into the NFL as a developmental player. Developmental players are meant for your later round picks. You should not be going into your later round picks looking for starters. Bad teams do that, right? As we said a couple episodes ago, the interview with Tyler Dunn and Jim Monos. Jim Monos said specifically, he was told by Sean Payton when he was working for the Saints, if you're constantly looking for the exceptions, you're going to find yourself without a job. And now here we are 9 years into the second iteration of this Buffalo Bills build, and Brandon Beane has now had to tear down and build back up this roster, and and I promise everybody this is not a kill Brandon Beane session, right? But just to make clear the situation we're in, we're in a year where we have a lot of big time needs. And we're on the cusp of possibly getting to a Super Bowl next year, right? I mean, everybody else around us in the AFC is starting to get better and better. And we've now identified, hey, we need better talent. Sean McDermott has said it. Brandon Beane continues to try to dance around it a little bit, but I think he understands that behind closed doors. So there is this acknowledgement, but the expectation based on what Brandon Beane is saying doesn't seem to be there if he's defending a guy like Keon Coleman by saying, well, he's young. He's only 21. Some of the other guys that we've drafted are 24 years old. Look, how old is Jalen Carter?
Probably about 22, 23.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, Tavondre Sweat came in last year. He wasn't 25.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So I can't get behind some of these reasons as, oh yeah, that's valid. I have no questions about that answer whatsoever. You know what I mean?
I got a thought on that too.
Go ahead.
Because I thought it was going to be what you said, but it's not. I just want to start off with, fuck you mean? Why would you ever say, who's piling on? He said, well, let's not pile. We're not. Guess what? The only people that are piling on Keon Coleman are people that are taking your lead. The only people that didn't see what Keon Coleman was out of Florida State is taking their lead. Listen to that X conversation, that X comment he made. Listen to, he's going to be the number one. They listened to you. They didn't watch their film with their eyes. They watched you with their eyes. They listened with the Kool-Aid glasses on. Anybody that knows football, even a little bit, knows what Keon Coleman was, and you saw it. Yeah. Was it a bad thing? No, but it's not a number one. You need that route runner next to him. You need somebody that's polished next to him. Keon Coleman's the cleanup man, which they said, the red zone threat. Everybody who knows what they're talking about knows that already. So what are you talking? Let's not pile on. He's only 21. And I think he did what he did. It was fine. But guess what? You didn't do what you were supposed to do by drafting somebody to go with him, bringing us Amari Cooper because he was $860,000. That's why they brought him here. Not because he was good, not because he was cheap, and they missed out on Devontae Adams. So guess what? The new flavor of the week is should the Bills go get Devontae Adams because he's going to be free. He's also like 53 years old. When are we going to stop doing this? Because I heard about Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack, I'm a UB fan. Love the guy.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Right.
But now you're talking about 34, okay, 15 years old, 34 years old, and hasn't really taken over the league again since, whenever. What about Malcolm Kuntz? He had 9 sacks last year in limited duty, his first season as a starter. He's going to be a free agent. He's only going to cost you $2 million. 19 mil, $2 million. Yeah. I'll take a flyer here and let him rotate with Solomon. Keep Vine. Whatever. Vine is already here. Keep him. Let him work with those two. See what he can do.
Yep. Laura says, I think Bean came down pretty hard on Coleman. Yeah, I think they both did. Look, Keon Coleman's performance was relative to what he was asked to do. Yeah. And if you got this guy running 9s all day long, he's a jump ball receiver, period.
At 4'6".
Exactly. Yeah. So there are other things you could have asked him to do that might have better served his skill set, but you didn't put him in that position. You had him trying to be Randy Moss out there getting 19 yards a catch. Mm-hmm. That's not his game.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And essentially what you've done is you've said the $14 million that Gabe Davis got, no. We can find another guy to come in and beat Gabe Davis, even though we don't run the same system that Gabe Davis was drafted for anymore.
Right.
Nonsense.
It's yeah. That's the thing too. When you talk about how do they fit in the system, these are game breakers.
Right.
Are you gonna? Yeah. Von Miller. If you got Von Miller at 25, you are gonna say, hey, Von, come in and play the soft zone with us. You cool? No. He's a future Hall of Famer. If you draft the next Hall of Famer, you're going to make him play your system. You're going to play the system that he plays because he's the cornerstone. He's the one that's going to make your defense go. On offense, Josh Allen, why don't we run everything? Why don't we run a West Coast all like that? Because Josh Allen can't play a West Coast. He doesn't do that. So why do we not fit him into a square peg into a round hole? When you have good players, you make your team, you pattern your team around the players you have. But when you got, I'm not going to say sorry players, when you got less damn players and you get that one blue chipper, you're going to make him play like them? You got Philadelphia's back four and you're going to play the soft zone with them? No, nobody's doing that. Mm-hmm. Nobody in the free world is doing that. And that's why they pass on Cooper DeJohns. That's why they pass on, they didn't pass on Quinyon Mitchell, but you get the point. That's why they don't go for those kind of good, because their system dictates this. Christian Benford is excellent in the system, but guess what it would be if you could kind of mix it up and put someone on the other side of them that could do something different.
Yep. I want to get to a few comments here real quick. Laura says, when we took Coop, we only had about $5 left in our pocket.
Nah, it was 47. I counted.
Jamal, welcome to the show. Because you are in our comment section now, that means you're part of the family, so there's no getting out of that. You're stuck. Welcome. He says nah, go in on Bean. Like you guys said, you don't draft development players in prime rounds. I mean, that's what we're saying. That's it. I don't know. I'm trying to get to a place where I am not giving people truth massages with sandpaper. I like that analogy because I think that's the one thing that I was like adamant on when it comes to accountability. No, we got to call this stuff out. They need to change it. Blah blah blah. They're taking 9 years to arrive at some of the stuff that you and I have been talking about for about 3 or 4, and we've only been doing this show for about 2. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So.
You started the show out of pity for me because I was going to explode. So you said, let me get him in a forum.
We needed some ventilation in our lives.
In a forum for this.
Right. Spin says, if you calling Coleman a bad pick, then if you calling Coleman a bad pick, then if he turns into a Hall of Famer for the Bills, you still have to call him a bad pick after the fact. He can't be a bad pick year one and turn into a good pick the next. To be fair, Spin, I'm not the one calling him a bad pick. Like, literally everybody was saying this is not a guy that you need to be relying on in the second round. Yeah. Like, his skill set is not there. He was supposed to be a 3rd or 4th round pick, which is more on the developmental side because he was not a great route runner. The Bills essentially made him their 1st round pick,
and they're whipping boy because we're sitting here. I don't know.
They didn't go in on Daquan Jones. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
They didn't go in on Daquan Jones. They didn't go in on Ed Oliver, who didn't have the same amount of sacks that he had last season. They didn't go in on Greg Rousseau, who didn't have the same amount of sacks. They didn't go in on none of their stars. They went in on the rook. Like, that was the guy they called out. So at the end of the season, it was Josh Allen and then Keon Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two guys they called out by name. Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't know what I was going to say now. No, but honestly, I mean, if maybe the message is misconstrued. I'm backing Keon. I'm saying what he did was what I expected out of Keon. You know, the plays he made was what I've seen him do. And if he couldn't do that, I'd be like, what happened to this dude? But what they're asking him to do is something that was not what was on his palette. You know, he couldn't do that. You know, he's not a route runner. He's not this. He's not. Maybe one day he will be. And Bean said we need to see. We got word from him that he's grinding. He's working hard. Well, we knew that. We saw that before. But you can only grind so hard on certain, or everybody in this room could be an NFL player or an NBA player or whatever you want to be. You know what? Scrap that. We've all played basketball. We've all played football. But guess what? We ain't all play hockey. If we try harder to play hockey, we ain't never gonna be hockey players.
I ain't skating like that.
See, that's the first step. Your first step is admitting that you can't skate. But that's the thing people understand. You can't. This is not Madden where you can just toggle the numbers around and make somebody something that they weren't before.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what people want to do. They want to say, if you put him in the system, you do it. Why can't he do that? Because that's not what he's for. He didn't go to college to do that. He was a 4-star, 5-star recruit to play football. Guess what? It wasn't to do what the Bills wanted him to do. And the same thing we could say for Kaiir Elam. Was he a project at Florida? Yes. But the thing is, if he went to the right system, you think he'd be this bad? No. It's a system, and like Kev said, if it's that bad, change it. I would love to, or I would love to get all the players that you need for the system they run. That's the problem. You got to get all the players for the system they run.
Right. So that kind of goes into something else that I heard.
Sorry, Roy. Pickleball is the truth. Pickleball is the truth.
Yeah, I mean, pickleball looks fun. I do we have a place here for that?
Absolutely,
we do.
We got courts right on the corner from where we live.
Oh, they just built one
right over there. You know where the water park is? Yeah, the water park over there. They put a pickleball courts right over there. We got pickleball rackets at the house. T going to get in.
How have I not known this?
I had to play it in high school.
I mean, look, I know I talked about doing laser trying and stuff and your knee buckling and all that.
Pickleball. That's where it's at.
Bruh, I'm in.
Okay.
We doing. I'm excited now.
Tournament.
Yeah. We gonna
be wheezing
all day. Let's go.
How's that a pause? Oh, okay.
What is pickleball?
It's like a low. It's like tennis, but it's a low net and it's got a wiffle ball with like a ping pong paddle.
Yeah.
You play it on a tennis court.
It's like ping pong, but just with
your body.
Adults, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, you will. I'm gonna send you a video. YouTube highlights, pickleball highlights.
My man Tommy is in the comments for Mafia Sports Report. What's going on, man? He says, if you going to dog on Keon, then you better dog on Kincaid, who was a first-round pick that we traded up for.
Can I double down and just dog on the people that traded up for him again? Because you heard what they said.
What?
We need him to be they fired Eric Ciano because Keon's wrist didn't come along as they hoped. They fired.
That's what they're saying is the reason?
That was they mentioned this a roundabout way. They also said we need Kincaid to be stronger and more durable. Crickets.
For what? He caught the ball great the last 2 years.
How about you let him run the routes that he ran in college and in his first year in the league that got him to be this prodigy of a tight end?
This is Matt Milano, Terrell Bernard all over again. Are these guys becoming good players for us? Yes. Can their careers stand the test of time with what they're being asked to do? Hecky no. Like, we need to be real about this real quick. When you look at what's happening with Matt Milano now, we're having conversations that you and I had, a year ago? Should the Bills think about getting rid of Matt Milano? He's I don't want to say injury prone, but he's oft injured.
He is oft injured. That's a play we're seeing it.
Right. Mm-hmm. So for me to get to this place of, we got to put some weight on Kincaid. First of all, when you put extra weight on an athlete, you don't have an understanding of how their body can handle it.
Ask Greg Oden.
Exactly. So the way Kincaid came into the league is the way Kincaid should go out of the league. When you start asking guys like Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano to put some extra weight on and do things that they haven't done their entire career, you're asking for trouble. What you're doing is you're going back to what Sean Payton said and spitting in the face of that and saying, I don't care that you won a Super Bowl, Sean Payton. I don't care that you said that if you chase the exception, you're going to end up without a job. We did it with Josh Allen. Like you can't do that. I think after 9 years, you've seen you can't do that. You've chased all of that, and you've ended up with what? From the draft, realistically, with players that have switched positions, you've ended up with 4 very good players.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because I was listening to One Bills Live. This is probably, I don't even know when now, maybe Thursday. We don't have a Friday show anymore, so it all bleeds together. And
yeah, really. And
basically, what was talked about was the fact that where'd I have it? I wish I could find it. Anyway, I knew what I was going to say anyway. The fact that the Bills are very good at developing talent. And I think Chris Brown said that, and Tasker doubled down on that. And do we have to go through the draft since 2017 again to see how? But we got to put a baseline on this
spreadsheet.
Well, I do have something, but we have to put a baseline on this though, because you figure if you're talking about what is good, what did we expect? What's the baseline? What makes good? To me, first and second round should be a Pro Bowler eventually.
Yeah.
Third through fourth, eventual starters.
Mm-hmm.
Fifth and up, key contributors. Still on the same team. Now, do we need to go through the list? I don't think we do, but people just think about what you consider to be development, because you're looking at guys who came in and they kind of just did this. They might have went up a little bit. They didn't do this Keon Coleman thing they're talking about where he did this meteoric rise,
right,
and then fell off when he broke his wrist. No, these guys they're sturdy. They're dependable. You know, if they were Pro Bowlers at the time, they're gonna luck their way into a Pro Bowl now. Mm-hmm. Deion Dawkins, Matt Milano, they lucked their way, and now they're household names somewhat.
Yeah.
But who do you have that they drafted that took the world by storm besides Josh Allen?
Do you think, and this is a real question,
yeah,
do you think Jason Peters ruined it for us all?
What do you mean?
Here in Buffalo? Well, I mean, he's a undrafted tight end
mm-hmm.
that comes in and becomes one of the best left tackles in NFL history, mm-hmm. right? And, you know, the only reason he didn't stay here is because the Bills didn't want to pay him. You know what I'm saying? They felt like, you know, the money that he was asking for was outrageous. Mm-hmm. He goes to the Eagles and gets it and becomes even better of a left tackle than he was here. So, you know, it's, I guess me bringing him up is kind of asking the question, because there have been major exceptions to the rule in guys like Jason Peters and Josh Allen. Do you think those examples kind of give this regime a little bit of overconfidence in their ability to find those guys?
I mean, if they have overconfidence in trying to find guys, I don't know why. Because you figure that since 2017, they got Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, and that was pretty much the defense for the last 7 years before they left. But outside of that, you're talking about Greg Rousseau, you're talking about Ed Oliver. Guys, they're nice pieces,
yeah, but
they're not cornerstones. And if you look at the drafts, I'm sure we could find some guys that turn into cornerstones pretty quickly.
Yeah,
that were drafted after them, because everybody look where Ed Oliver was the 9th overall pick. So you know for a fact somebody could have got drafted after him and been, you know, probably more. I have no problem with Ed Oliver. I'm not dogging anybody for this. But the thing is, when you talk about development, when you talk about the job that our coaching staff has done, how do you quantify it? How do you say, okay, they did good with this guy but not that guy? You know, because Milano and Tanner Vallejo, they came out the same year. Vallejo is probably in the league somewhere as a special teamer. Nobody knows. I don't think he knows he's still on the team if he does. But then you got all the Cody Fords. You got Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. Sorry, Tommy. You got
he's still here too.
I know.
I can't wait to see what he say.
You got Ray. You got all these guys they drafted. I'm like, okay. We're 9 drafts in. Where's the baby?
Tommy said, "How dare you?"
I said sorry. I apologize.
Yo, I'm sorry. I got to sound the alarm real quick. My man outside looking in. What's going on? I haven't seen you forever, dude. He says, Key, Bill signed wide receiver Keenan Allen this offseason. He's 6'2", old, and cheap. What do you think? I think, yep, there you go.
I'm just gonna let that speak for itself. Salt. He's old, cheap. You said those are my magic words right there.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's oft injured too, isn't he?
Yeah.
See, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
very much
trifecta.
so.
Let me get that.
Man. That was so funny. All right, so real quick, I want to get to the salary cap jump, and then I think that'll lead us right into the cornerstone conversation for these guys that we saw. Can you give me 30 seconds?
Hey, take your time, man.
Okay. All right. So, if you haven't heard already, and you should have by now, I was about $1.8 million off from the prediction of how much cap space the Bills are going to be taking into the 2025-2026 season. The salary cap jumped from $255.4 million to $279.2 million, an increase of $23.8 million. Now, what does that mean for where the Bills are right now before the new league year opens? That means the Buffalo Bills are starting at $23.8 million. You've got to take away the overage that they have right now, which is $10 million after the Shakir deal. They're over the cap right now by $10 million. Once the new league year starts, they should be at about $13.8 million. I predicted they'd be about $12 million with the cap increase, but that was because they hadn't yet said it. But in my opinion, obviously at an extra $2 million, they'll probably just have that laying around for, somebody they need to sign during the season. Mm-hmm. So it's really not that big of an issue in terms of space is concerned. I do think they're gonna make probably two good moves in free agency just to kind of solidify. If I was going to predict what positions they go after to solidify, I think they're going to try to find a guy to stick into that X receiver position, or I don't know if they're going to go with this everybody eats thing again and everybody plays every position.
They can't get it no more.
They can't. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work again.
That's right. It's out there. It's
right. You've already put it on tape, so everybody's going to be ready. But I do think they're going to try to shore up wide receiver outside. And then I think after that, they're probably going to try to find a corner that they can get in that can kind of take over that Rasul Douglas spot, that veteran guy that can come in and play opposite of Christian Benford. I think doing those two things frees them up for what's probably going to be the most expensive position that of need that they'll have, which is pass rusher. What do you think?
The pass rush is a quandary for me. It really is. If Eamon Warrior's there, if Malachi Starks is there, he won't be. You're going to take those guys, but I think you're looking at a guy like Mike. Wait, are we talking about the draft yet? We're still on the salary cap, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can go into the draft.
I told
you. This was going to bring us into that conversation.
Okay. So everybody knows about Mike Green. Everybody should know about Mike Green by now.
Mike Green?
Yeah, from Marshall.
I purposely did not watch anything so that I can get all my info from you. Just so you know.
Well, I already got my spreadsheets up. They're still not clean. They're not clean, but they're getting better.
Holy cow.
Oh, I got tabs. Look at the tabs.
Jeez.
So
every position too.
Yeah. I have a problem. So I got a lot of work to do. But at any rate, no, I think if you look at a guy that was supposed to be a pick way before the Bills, this is where the combine helps or hurts. And I turned into being a couple of times. I'll admit it. I was being a few times. I said, I wonder if he trips and falls. His 40 time might not be right.
The guy that sprained his ankle.
Yeah. Well, that and Marcus and Matthew Golden, a wide receiver from Texas. Mm-hmm. Not the guy that said he's going to beat Xavier Worthy, but he's probably he was maybe the second or third best wide receiver in the draft. Wow. And some people had him coming to Buffalo, but then he ran a 4.3. So
it's over.
Yeah, it's over with. That was like,
wow.
Okay.
Wow. What did Bond run?
Okay, so let's preface this.
Uh-oh.
I like what he said. Everybody talked about how he would shoot his mouth off. He was cocky. This and that. He came out and said he's going to beat Xavier Worthy. He didn't. You never heard the word cocky before?
Come on, you gotta let him slide. But you heard somebody say cocky.
That's
you
what he
cannot. You can't bang him.
I know
for
he
that.
like. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
For the people that at home don't know, For
No,
the people
I
that
get it.
don't know, his son is a grown man, but he likes to AO me all the time.
This is right. Our producer is the young element we have on the show. So whenever we say something that's AO, we get called out on it. We got a button and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
So I mean, okay, fine. He ran a 4.39.
Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Wait a second. He was talking about running a 4.21.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, let me.
I give you merit point. I don't know what you ran at home that you thought you were gonna get a 4.2.
He was on the treadmill somewhere, getting it.
He put that bad boy in 11. Said, "I got this. This got to be about right."
They clocked me at 22 miles an hour. I'm gonna break the record.
Bam! Not from the line though.
Right.
You gotta lead up to it. So yeah, I mean,
did he look as fast, if not faster, than Worthy on tape?
No, but the thing about Bond is Bond isn't that small guy. Bond doesn't run the routes that Worthy was running at Texas. Bond was running over intermediate routes. He's running over the middles. He's that kind of guy. He's a yak kind of guy.
How tall is he?
5'11".
Okay.
I would definitely take that 4.39 and that cocky
Odell
factor.
Beckham was 5'11".
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say this too soon. No, I think what was Steph Diggs? Steph Diggs is 5'11", right?
No, Steph Diggs is 6'1".
He's 6'1". Nah, he ain't 6'1".
Yeah, he's 6'1".
6'1"?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, he might be 6 feet.
Okay, 6 feet.
Yeah,
I swear he was. I don't know. I don't know what I was looking at, but yeah. I mean, it's the thing that I look at. I'm like, okay, Isaiah Bond could definitely fall to 30, and he'd be a great player at 30. Knowing what I know about the defensive line as a whole, I love that you put CJ West on your picture. You don't even know who that is, but you just put him there.
You're darn right.
I know. If you saw that guy,
really,
you wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley.
Really?
Oh,
I don't know why I sound so excited about that.
I'm going to an alley.
Hey, really? That might be an AO moment. I don't know.
That's definitely an AO. We self-evaluated that one.
Yep.
We diagnosed it. Don't worry, Junie. You stay over there. We got it for you. It's an AO. We do. But yeah, no. I mean, CJ West was out of.
It's okay. We got your back. We got your back.
You know, when you fall apart, we got you.
That's
so
it.
So CJ West is at Indiana, and he plays the one. I mean, he's fast enough to close in on running backs. He's fast enough to get to the quarterback. He causes havoc in the middle. This guy's laughing again.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was so excited when he said you wouldn't want to see him in the dark alley. Really? Give me the nearest flight to New York City. Laura says, I want access to key spreadsheets, please and thank you. LOL. No, you don't. They are massive and they are extensive.
It will close your
You would be there forever.
But no, I don't know if you guys are watching the post section for the breakdowns I did. Those are actually coming somewhat from the spreadsheets, and give you something to look for on YouTube in your spare time as well. But it gives me something to do at work for sure when I'm waiting for things to happen when they're supposed to and they don't. But yeah, no, I think definitely if you're looking at this draft, your meat and potatoes, the middle of the draft is there for your D tackles. Deion Walker was 6'7", 342. Alfred Collins came in. I think he was 320 at 6'6". Then you got a guy who I didn't know anything about, Jamari Caldwell. This guy is about 6 feet and 6 3/4 feet, maybe 6'1", 340. He played it at Oregon. You're not moving this dude. You're not moving this dude. I mean, he's nasty. He has enough on him to get to the running back. He can chase you out of the pocket. He's not overly fast. I think he's around like a 5'3" or something like that. But at that size, whatever.
What did he bench though? What did he bench though?
I bet he didn't do well. But see, the thing about him is, I don't want to put nobody on Front Street, but if you saw him
do it,
you'd be like, he need to tighten up a lot because he looks round. But when you watch his tape, he's got some aggression to him.
How much did he weigh? Did you say
he's like 6'1", 340.
340. Okay, so if he lost 20 pounds, you think
I don't want him to lose an ounce.
Really?
I don't want him to lose an ounce. Watch this. I'll show you. I'll show you a picture of him.
Big butterball looking dude. I mean,
He is a butterball looking dude, but Jamari Caldwell,
oh yeah, he's a bean.
yeah, right here.
He's a bean.
Yeah. So
That's a kidney bean right there. That's a kidney
So
bean.
I mean, if we could get that next to Ed Oliver with Greg Rousseau, I mean, you're talking right now. We're looking at trying to replace, Austin Johnson and Daquan Jones. So what I'm looking at is I'm trying to find out one tech, but he's not going to give you anything more than a one tech. Now, when we talk about Jordan Phillips is that 0 all the way out to, I'd say, safely 4.
Mm-hmm.
He says he can go to 9. I don't think he can go to 9.
He doesn't play the one strong though. Like I want to give him credit for being as good as he is as a pass
Jordan
rusher.
are you talking about? I'm talking about the college one.
Jordan Phillips?
Yeah, the college Jordan Phillips. Not
There's
the pro one.
another Jordan
The
Phillips?
college one from Maryland. Yeah.
Okay, see, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking about old Jordan Phillips.
Oh, yeah, no.
OG.
OG.
So we got to put OG Jordan Phillips. Oh yeah.
OJ.
OG JP and new JP.
You went way out for that one.
I-
But you got it. You
gotta
got it
work
all
for
full
it.
circle though.
Yeah.
No. I mean, if you look at the new Jordan Phillips, OJ,
No relation,
JP,
right?
and no.
Interesting.
But he said I mean, what's funny about Jordan Phillips is when they have to do their press conferences, he's answering all these questions. Yes, sir. No, sir. Blah blah blah. He's very polite, very laid back. Ladies start talking to the guy. He's like, He's like, I'm sorry, sir. I don't mean to cut you out, but ladies first. Swear, hand to God.
Wow.
He said, I don't mean. He said, it's always ladies first. That's it. So go ahead, ma'am. And he took her question, answered the question. Okay, now, sir, I'm sorry. What were you asking me?
Laura, I'm taking bets he's going to be a Buffalo Bill.
No, I can double down on that.
Huh?
I can double down on it. You ready?
Yeah.
In high school,
Uh-huh.
he was a state wrestler
Oh, it's over.
and
It's over.
a state weightlifter.
Bruh. Where do you expect him to go?
I expect him to go third or fourth.
Mark that down. And it's a 4th round bit. We got 3 of them? Come on, man.
We could move up into the second. If we
He's
really
going to be a
wanted
Bill.
Yeah, I mean,
Watch.
I believe. I mean, look at his face. Does this not say crazy to you?
I mean,
Super polite though.
I don't want to be disrespectful.
You're not super polite. He's nuts. But the build. This is what I want to see.
But like a good crazy, right? Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, the kind of person you want being your bodyguard or something like that.
Yeah, this is the kind of dude that when a dude says lady first, you sit down and cross your legs.
Oh. Makes you sit down on the toilet, huh?
Yeah. Laura said gentleman. So I mean, he's a gentle giant. But I mean, if you look at the build, you look at how the center right here, who's vying for a job, is not even able to get he can't. He's trying his hardest to stay on the field.
Yeah. He's
It's
almost
over.
off the ground right
He's
now.
almost off the ground. Look at it. Look at this. I mean, this is a one tech.
Yeah.
I mean, where do I sign?
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of that. Let me pull up the spreadsheet.
In the 4th round we could have that too.
we could possibly have that in the 4th round.
Man. Okay, so real quick,
Go ahead.
how are his pass rush abilities?
Yeah, that's the one with the massive spin move I was telling you about.
This dude here?
Yeah,
Wow.
from a one tech. I've never seen a dude line up at a 0 tech. He lined up 0 right over the center.
Yeah.
Made a power move and spun off the guard. He's agile. Now, what I'm worried about with him is his size. I don't remember how big he was. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I don't know if you had another person you going to after this real quick, but Billy
Yeah,
D
go ahead.
says John Randall crazy.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
We'll get to him next.
I can see that. Where is he? 6'2", 312.
Okay.
So I can take that. I'll
Yeah.
take that.
Absolutely. He's got the size. He's got the ability. So technique-wise, because now, like, I'm really considering this guy. The Bills have to be really considering this guy just from a character perspective and ability
Yeah, I
and
know.
all that kind of stuff. He comes from I don't want to say smaller school. It's Maryland.
Well, he
but
transferred from Tennessee.
okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so he's definitely got the talent.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it is that is causing him to be a 4th round pick at this stage?
It was a lack of. He didn't have a sack in
Okay.
his senior year, I believe. He didn't have a sack, which whatever. And somebody asked him that in the press conference. He said, you know, I didn't have a sack. You're right, but he said I impacted the quarterback, which is there. And the fact that this is such a deep. I mean, you're talking about this is a deep defensive tackle class. You know, if I had it set up, Junie, if I had it set up, I would set it up the long way.
The long way.
So
I don't know if y'all saw that video, but go check it out. It's hilarious.
I mean, but I can't say it on here because my mom's watching. But just look at what I put for CJ West as my comment when I first saw him.
Looks longish.
No, strongish.
Oh, strong. Okay, my bad.
That's the guy you have.
I got away with that one. I definitely got away.
No, you didn't. He like
what? Come on! You didn't even catch it until he said something.
He was like,
"Oh
he was like,
God, fine."
He was like,
"Hey, yo,
he
bro."
Oh my God! All right.
Right,
yeah, but you know what a ref does when a penalty is called? He throw the flag up in the air immediately. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that because the AFC Championship game.
Too soon.
Right. My bad.
I mean, just some other names I want you guys to look out for. Derek Herman is the name that's going to be heard a lot around the circles. The guy out of Oregon, he played next to Jamari Caldwell. After seeing Jamari Caldwell, I see what could have contributed to Derek Herman's ascension. The problem with Derek Herman is that he doesn't really have a position. You know, he's kind of a defensive end in a 3-4, but he can play the 3. You know, but he's better as a with a nose tackle next to. He's a weird dynamic. You know, he doesn't have natural bend.
saw him as more of a pass rusher.
Yeah, he's got game breaker potential, which the Bills probably won't love, but they should. He doesn't have great body control, but it's good enough. He doesn't have natural bend, so he's not going to be able to get that edge that people want. Now, will he be able to use his strength to bend guards and not around the tackles? Yes, but I think for where he may be drafted, you're looking at Nazir Stackhouse, which is a decent athlete, but also built pretty big, pretty good.
I'm sorry.
What happened?
I'm sorry. I've been trying to hold it, but every time I read this comment, I just bust out laughing. Like, because I'm imagining this stuff. It's how my brain works. I apologize for interrupting you, but real quick, Lynn says, please send Buffalo a 6'7", 345 nose tackle that simply steps over the center and slaps the QB to the ground.
Well, Lynn, you're in luck because you have Deion Walker, who is exactly 6'7", 342 pounds.
Oh, let's go. That's it. Put another 3 on him. Call it a day. Bag him.
Yeah, now he is I can't remember if he started at Kentucky, but I know I did a write-up on him, so you might look it up to keep me honest there. What happened?
You just read the comment?
Oh.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like imagine how great that would be. Like the dude just steps right over the center and just slaps the dog dirt out of the quarterback.
Well, I'm trying to see if I can find a picture that illustrates how big this man is.
Oh, jeez.
There you go. And I'm sure this guy is probably about 6 feet. How? Yeah.
He's got to be over 6 feet.
This guy here?
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably is. Yeah, he's probably about 6'2".
Yeah.
6'7", 348 right there.
And he looks like my wife when she's staring up at me.
Oh, gonna kick you
Like
in the kids. Kick you right in the kids.
Right. That's the only way she win in a fight.
But I mean, you got it right here. YouTube, NFL draft, Kentucky, Deion Walker. He's a monster. I mean, he is. And he's mobile enough for his size. I still like CJ West. And I like Jamari Caldwell because they're low to the ground and they're strong. Mm-hmm. Now if you're talking about Jordan Phillips, those are 3 guys. And this is a draft where I would be fine with them getting three defensive tackles. I mean, it really would. One would have to be like a tweener kind of, that can kick outside, which might be where like a Jordan Phillips makes hay. I don't know outside of Mike Green that you're going to get that pass rush you really want. I know the Bills talked to Palmer from Florida State, and I'm hoping they talk to what's the guy from? Let me pull it up now. The guy from the defensive end from Michigan.
So, quick question: when you say you wouldn't mind if they drafted 3 defensive tackles, what what are you then doing with the guy out of Duke that we drafted last year, Carter?
Hey man, iron sharpens iron. That dude, honestly, that dude.
You know, that's what every coach says when they get ready to kick the dude that was there before.
Yeah, because I mean that guy. Everybody talks about how he started off. Well, no, he didn't. He had one signature game, and from that game, we deduced that he was good before that. But if you peel back the layers, he had one good game, and after that, he was unplayable. When he got hurt, he was unplayable. You know, he was moved all over the field.
Yeah.
But when we watched, we were on Rico's show. We watched it. We watched what we're looking at with this guy, and we're like, okay, this guy is doing what good? He's not a pass rusher. He's not a really a run stuffer. He's smaller, but next to Oliver, he's not small. You know, but I think he was a 4-year captain. I think he was a McDermott.
Of course,
kind of caricature, but that's not to say everything is bad. Now, we can thank Bean for the way I look at McDermott, because the more Bean talks, the less I hate McDermott, the more I hate Bean. So, which I never hated. I never hated McDermott, and I used to actually like Bean and respect him. But the more he talks now, even I think Jerry Ostrowski on what's the show? Overreaction Show said that everything Bean said was full of S. This is Ostrowski.
Wow.
You know, he said I didn't want to listen to it.
Well, this show is quickly turning into we hate Brandon Bean.
I don't hate. I don't hate anybody.
I know. To be clear, we don't hate Brandon
but
Bean.
But if I had to say one, no.
But right. I did think it was funny. Did you see the interview he had on the kicker from the Colts? What's the dude's name?
McAfee.
Yeah, Pat McAfee show. Mm-hmm. Did you see that interview?
No, not a recent one or one from a while back. No,
it was a couple of days ago.
No, I didn't see that.
All right, so I thought this was really interesting. In that interview, he had answered several questions before he got to this question. He was asked about, I think he was asked about a specific player and what he saw in this player. Mm-hmm. And they were really looking to see, like, you know, what sticks out about this player to you, right? And I notice little tendencies in people. I pay attention to body language, and I'm always looking for, you know, information that you know, people don't want to give you in interviews and stuff like that, right? And what I found extremely funny and kind of weird at the same time, kind of made me question, you know, why the change was all of the other questions that Brandon Bean was asked, you know, prior to him, you know, having to talk about this player that they wanted him to give more details on. He was just, you know, his usual self, calm, you know, had an answer for everything, kind of funny and all that kind of stuff. What I've never seen Brandon Bean do is talk fast. Mm-hmm. And his tone wasn't frantic, but the level of his voice, I should say the pitch in his voice kind of went up a little bit, where it wasn't his same just kind of Southern twang, you know, hanging out down here, you know what I mean? He kind of went up a little bit, and he was talking kind of fast, and even some of the things that he was saying about the player were incomplete thoughts. And Brandon Bean doesn't typically have incomplete thoughts when making a point. And what makes this all very funny is what Jim Mona said, which was, Brandon Bean is not a scout. Brandon Bean is a money guy. And for him to get asked a question like that, what he's then trying to do at that point is he's trying to regurgitate information and scouting reports that was given to him about a player. Right? I think it's one of the reasons why he doesn't really take a lot of interviews around this time, because he's not the guy that's you know, going to the games or doing, you know, watching all the tape and stuff like that. He's getting these reports from his scouts, and then he's putting a list together based on his criteria, what he likes, what he knows Sean would like, all that kind of stuff, and then he creates his board from there. So it's kind of it's one of those things where it's like you really want to expose somebody in their strengths and weaknesses on a job. Ask them questions about every aspect of the job, and they'll tell you where their strength is. You know what I mean? And here we have a guy that we've trusted with our first and second round picks, and even some of our third round picks. And every last one of these guys that we've drafted over the last 5 years have been developmental. You got to give him time. He's too young. He'll pan out. Give him time. He's too young. He'll pan out. Give him time. I mean, I'm tired of watching every other team around me, especially in the AFC East, draft these guys that are stars overnight.
Yeah.
Like, I had to watch Sauce Gardner and Breece Hall come in and take the league by storm and win Rookie of the Year. You know what I'm saying? Like, why should I have to watch that for a team that's bad?
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible. And look, to be fair, the Bills are doing what's worked for them and what's gotten them here. But the way that they do things, the percentage of success for the player is low. Not for the team, for the player. Right? Mm-hmm. So essentially what the Bills have done is they've built a system where rookies can come in and have immediate success, but once it comes time for that player to get the second contract, he's not worth whatever the market is going to dictate he's supposed to get at that point. So now we either have to overpay this guy or get him out of here because he's not worth the money. Greg Rousseau.
Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously, chat, how many of you want to just give Greg Rousseau $25 million right now for pressures, not sacks, pressures? How, like, in all reality, what happened in the Super Bowl? Were the Eagles getting pressures or were they getting sacks? Because sacks create pressure. Mm-hmm. Sacks are what make Sam Darnold see ghosts. Sacks are what actually take points off the board and take yards away and put teams in worse situations than they were so that you can be free to pin your ears back and rush even more. Mm-hmm. That's what sacks do. Pressures, we saw what pressures look like in the AFC Championship game. What did pressures look like? Not much. You got Greg Rousseau falling all over the place in the AFC Championship game, the biggest game we've had in 5 years. Mm-hmm. So, to me, it just, once I saw that in Bean's interview, I was just like, just don't take these kind of interviews anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, it was funny when you listen to the press conference Sean McDermott had at the Combine. I mean, he was flowing through the questions. You know, he was being almost like the McDermott. We saw, like, what's the change? What happened after the Tyler Dunn came out? And then they asked, so how are you and Bean's philosophies meshing? And like, it's like, so he saw a ghost. He stuttered, and I wrote my notes. I said, "What was that stutter about?" Yep. You know, he took a swig of water. He's like, "What? Say that again."
Yep.
I want to get that again. Okay. All right, and then he goes into something that doesn't answer the question at all for a while. You know, I guess if you really wanted to answer it, it will, but it didn't. I'm like, they not on the same page. Those two dudes are not on the same page.
No, definitely not.
No, and I'm leaning towards the more McDermott actually talks, I'm leaning towards he's more the philosophy I am, but I'm not going to say he's all the way different than what we thought. But it's just when he says stuff, it's like, well, why is it that not happening on the field? Mm-hmm. The stuff you're saying, why are the players you're talking about not on the field? You got a GM that says otherwise, and what he's saying is on the field.
Yep. Keon Coleman came in. Oh, he's going to play the X for us.
Yeah,
Sean is like, no, he's got to earn that.
Right. Sean didn't say that. Brady didn't say that.
Bean says, oh, we're gonna rely on Cole Bishop. Sean says, no, he's got to earn it.
Right.
Like, what? Why are you two saying different things about the same players?
I don't know.
It's incredible. Like, so for those of you who haven't been with us this entire time, one of the reports that I put out last year, was it last year or the year before, about the conversation between Bean and Sean?
But last year.
Yeah, I think it was last year. Anyway, long story short, and this has to do with the history between Bean and Sean, recent history. Before Diggs was traded, there was a phone conversation that happened between Brandon Bean and Sean McDermott in which Sean McDermott called Brandon Bean's office, and Sean asked Brandon Bean, "Are you still on board?" And the conversation was surrounded around still on board with the game plan in terms of the team build and the direction of the team, that kind of deal, right? Are you still on board? And excuse me, the way the report was given and the way it was dictated, it came off as though Bean was kind of insulted by, at the question in terms of, how dare you ask me that? I've been a part of this whole time. I'm on board. So the conversation became very heated. It became an argument. and I didn't really get the conclusion of the conversation. But all of that is to say, there is something going on behind the scenes between Beane and Sean. And I think we've begun to see a little bit more of the cracks or chinks in the armor between those two, especially with, and this is me giving Sean credit here, with what Sean's been able to do with these players on the field and what Beane has supplied to Sean, right? I think it's a very big deal for Sean to go into his post-game, his postseason press conference and say, we need playmakers. We need blue chippers. That's not a overt shot at Brandon Beane, but it is a very indirect shot at Brandon Beane. Yep. I mean, you're basically saying we don't have the dogs on the team right now to do what I'm trying to do, and we need to focus on that. Well, I mean, realistically, even though this is Sean's show, Brandon Beane is the one going out and handing the card.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I made this prediction a few weeks ago. Did I make? I don't think I made it officially, but I'll make it here now. I think the next guy that's going to be on the hot seat is not Sean McDermott. I am saying it here today. I think Brandon Beane, if the Buffalo Bills do not get to another AFC Championship game next season, I think Brandon Beane is going to be on the hot seat. I think for as much success as the team has had, it's going to be much easier for Sean to reconcile and to rationalize with going out and getting another GM that can get him better talent, still according to what Sean wants in a player, but just find better talent, rather than to continue to kind of be under the gun every season with guys who are developmental in the first and second rounds. I mean, that's really where Brandon Beane has struggled this entire time. And one of the things that Brandon Beane said in that interview with, and I know I'm talking forever, man. I'm sorry. One of the things Brandon Beane said in that interview with Pat McAfee was, did I just lose the thought? No, Brandon Beane talked about how he wanted to. I just lost the thought.
Uh-oh.
I totally lost the thought. Wow. Okay, that happened on live internet.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
It's okay.
But the point I'm trying to get to is Brandon Beane knows that he hasn't had the success that he wanted to have. This is the point that I wanted to get out. He said he talked about how, when a team gets into this mode where they're going out and buying players, that means that the team build has not gone great in the draft.
I wonder where I heard that before.
Really? You just saying it like it has nothing to do with what you've done.
Has he been watching this show?
Yeah, I don't think he's been watching his own show.
Yeah.
So,
good Lord.
Do with that with what you will, but to me, I think it really speaks to where Beane is in terms of his awareness of the job he's done. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is not on Beane day. It's
his day gonna come. Nah.
This is no. I mean, in all seriousness, this is all critical thinking. Mm-hmm. It's really what it boils down to. It's critical thinking and critiquing the job that these guys are doing with the millions of dollars in tax money that we're paying them. You know what I'm saying? That's where I come across with accountability. So it is what it is. Spin says Aramis is giving Tommy a run for his money. I mean, Tommy's my guy. I'm not in competition with Tommy. Outside looking in says Beane needs to do well or be the fall guy next season. Yeah. Kev says he supplied what McDermott wanted, then changed that whack defense. You think so? You think he gave Sean what he wanted? I look. It's kind of hard to argue that because I don't have enough information about the control that Sean had in Carolina. Mm-hmm. I can probably find out. But I do know that Brandon Beane wasn't anywhere near selecting players in Carolina.
No.
Right? And the guy that they had selecting players at the time was doing a pretty darn good job. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So whatever Sean was able to do in Carolina, he was doing it with better players than what he's had here. I don't think anybody will really argue with that too much, especially because the defense carried them I don't want to say carried them, but in the playoffs, the defense did carry them to a Super Bowl. Regular season, that was Cam Newton, but defense carried them to a Super Bowl in the playoffs. And that was led by Sean McDermott. So I think I'm starting to now take a step back from Sean in terms of, where I'm pointing the finger. But I'm not happy to be pointing it at Bean.
No.
I think at the end of the day, I just want these guys to make the
How do you make an error?
I want these guys to make the mental changes necessary to just right the ship.
Yeah, I mean that's all it really is. I don't need nobody, no heads. I don't need any more people to fall. I just need the ship to be, like you said, righted. I would love to see the guys we have in office right now as if they're in some kind of political party or something like that they can make a difference. I would like to say that Bean and McDermott finished the job they started. Yeah, okay. They didn't wow us with their streak, their drought breaking streak, however you want to say it. They didn't wow us with how they got in 2017, but the fact of the matter is they've been in every year since 2019. So that says a lot. Yes, we poo-poo on the fact that we go to the playoffs every year and lose. Yes, that's true. But there are teams that go in and don't go. So there is something to be said for them to get to the playoffs every year. While saying that, I need my two top dogs in the organization, since our owner has no idea what he's looking at, to be on one accord.
I don't think he wants to know at this
I don't
point.
think he's too busy
Are the
trying to duck the
Sabres doing
Sabres.
anything at all?
No. He's too busy trying to duck those guys.
Yeah.
But I think a lot has to be said about, like you said, how they draft. They don't draft, and they want to pay for people all the time. It's like they always know they have that money in their back pocket to pay people.
Yep.
But now you don't. And Bean always talks about, if we could get somebody of this, heck yeah, we could take that person. Like, no, shut up. Shut up.
Right, because it's not like you're really trying to look for that guy.
Right, you're not seeking it. You're telling me you want Myles Garrett, but then you go ahead and draft
AJ Epinesa.
AJ Epinesa, we'll say. Right. I was looking for somebody like the complete opposite build. It's like, he's not built like Myles Garrett at all. But the thing is, like, you want this thing. You like that thing. You like Philadelphia's defense, but they had at least 2 or 3 of those pieces for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Who did you get that looks anything like anybody on their team?
Yep.
You didn't. And before people say, who was there? I can give you one, T'Vondre Sweat. Your guy. He was there. If you want to look like that on a defensive line. And taking him in the first round over Keon Coleman or second round, however you want to look at it, would not have been foolish.
Yeah.
And this is not a slight on Keon to boost up T'Vondre, but the point of the matter is, if you want somebody to look like something, go get them. They're there.
That's
right. And this year with regards to Carter and Davis, you want one of those guys in your middle. I just gave you 5 dudes that fit the bill just like them. Will they be a bill? Who knows? And that tells you all you need to know. Somebody in the comments said there's 17 edge rushers in the top 100. True. However, a lot of them I don't really care for.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, for instance, Landon Jackson. A lot of people like Landon Jackson. Landon Jackson is I think he's 6'5", 6'6", maybe even 6'7".
What school is he out of?
260, huh?
What school is he out of?
Arkansas.
Okay.
But to me, Landon Jackson is more for a team that wishes they had a Rousseau. We already got a Rousseau. If you have him, why get another one? He has adequate bursts off the line. He's a good passer. He's not great.
Is that the guy they say plays like Max Crosby?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah.
He's good, not great. He plays long. He's robotic. He doesn't have bend. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, how many offensive linemen can deal with his arm length. Just like Rousseau, they got those long arms, and that's something that the Bills covet. So if you want Landon Jackson, go ahead and get it. But don't tell me you want a speed rusher, because he's not that. I could see him taking Tyler Beatty as well. He's out of BYU. He's ran a 4.86 and he's about 6'5", 6'6", but he's built like a throwback character. Almost looks like a do I want to say Schobel? Almost kind of built like that. Not play style, but just the way he looks, like physically looks.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, okay, he's up there in top 100. You go Nick Scorton. He's not an edge rusher. He's an edge. He's a power rusher.
Okay.
And those are the guys that I don't want to really harp on, because we've had those with
more
Rousseau.
edge defender than pass rusher.
You know, and if you're talking about Donovan Ezeraku from Boston College, yeah, he led the nation in sacks or close to it. Mike Green led the nation, and Donovan had like 16 sacks last year as well. Those are guys you want to look at in that regard. Jordan Burch is a Bills kind of player from Oregon. He plays inside and outside. He's got powerful hands. He played with the aforementioned Jamari Caldwell and Harmon. Jared Ivey. I mean, what's not to like about Ole Miss's front five? Period. I mean, you got Princely. You mind me yelling? I'm going to say it right at some point in my life.
You mind me?
You got that. You got JJ Peaks. You got Walter Nolan. Huh? You mind me yelling?
That's his daddy name, man. Why are you coming at him?
You know what his first name is?
What?
Princely.
Right.
Princely. You mind me yelling? I just said it right. I'll be dang.
All
it was Judy. Thanks, Judy.
Yeah, right.
I mean, let's see.
Real quick, we had a comment here I want to get to. Steve says, we miss on top picks consecutively. We miss on free agents consecutively. Every year Bean says we need playmakers and speed, and then we draft process guys with low talent and hope he runs slow at the combine. I'm about tired of hearing that.
Wait, who is this? Oh,
Steve,
hoping he runs slow?
Yeah.
I was there. I'm telling you. When I saw even Worry jump to 43, I said, he gonna run fast. He gonna run real fast. I don't need that in my life right now. See, I went into the combine when Xavier Watts from Notre Dame or Andrew Makuba from Texas. These are guys. Makuba got an attitude problem. Not in like press conferences like that, but on the field, he's gonna be good for at least one or two personal fouls. This dude, he seeks pain.
Oh wow.
He seeks pain. He wants to hit, and he's not a big dude. But he's a playmaker, and that's what I really appreciate. So I think
he's a pass rusher.
No, this is safety.
Oh,
I had him in the early fourth. So I mean, this is something that you're looking at, and I'm sitting here thinking like, okay.
Yeah, but they said Elam was too aggressive in practice, or was that just
this guy's a safety though? Elam would have been aggressive. We would have known what we had in Elam had we played man or put him on the field at least.
Yeah.
We just had to see him on the field. You know, maybe he was Stephon Gilmore. I don't know. Gilmore was all over everybody. He was hugging people left and right. Buffalo loved him. Yeah. So, hey, Elam, you know, I mean, but it's all what you want. I mean, I got a list of how many people do I have here? I got 27 defensive ends I have to go through.
All right, so let's do this.
Not now. I'm saying on my own personal scouting. I got to look through 27 defensive ends.
Okay.
I ain't got it ready now.
That's fine. That's fine. So if you can give me, of the guys that you've already watched so far, who would you say are the, and we can just keep it to defensive linemen, right? That way we're not going through all your stuff. Who are the perfect fits for the Buffalo Bills, and who are the guys that we can just mark off the list as they will never come here?
Perfect fits for the Bills. That's a tough one. Okay, I'm gonna counter your question with a question. What are we trying to fit? What is the defense? Are we trying to fit? I mean, because I don't know enough about what we did. When I look at these guys, I'm looking at what we could be.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Well, the defensive scheme has always been pass rush first.
Yeah.
Right, and then the secondary is it's an eyes defense. Right. Sometimes they run that hybrid man zone. They've been mixing in a lot more man this season, but I think they're going to reinvest heavily in defensive line. The defensive coordinator that they brought in and made the defensive assistant or whatever, the defensive coordinator that came from Jacksonville. He's going to be the defensive line coach, right? And I think that's more of his primary job than trying to institute in some kind of, man scheme change in the defense. I think the defense is still going to be Sean's defense. They're going to try to mix in, man as needed. But I think the focus, especially now, is we've got to get the defensive line right. We've got to get the pass rush right, because we no longer have the secondary to allow the pass rush to not be great. We're not getting coverage sacks anymore. That's out.
And Spin, we get it. We get it. Garrett, we know.
Say what?
When you said when I said what would be a fit, he said Garrett.
Oh, spin, yeah, of course, of course.
But I mean, off the top of my head, if you're looking at, and this is not, I want to qualify this before we go any further. This is not my own personal, because I would do this probably completely different. But I think the Bills, if you're looking at defensive tackle, Josh Farmer from Florida State would probably be the epitome of what they wanted at defensive tackle.
Okay.
He's a big body, but he corners well, so he's got that pass rush ability. That's his claim to fame. He's not. I mean,
What do you mean when you say he corners well? Break that down.
so when he beats the guard, he's going to make the beeline to the. He's got agility enough to meet the beeline to the quarterback. Like,
so
he's
side
not gonna,
leverage.
Yeah, he's not going to round off. He's going to, as soon as he beats the man, he's going to make a beeline right to the quarterback.
Got you. Yep.
He is a pass rusher. Run stuffing, he will give you something in the run game, but his most dominant trait is in the pass game. Also, Darius Alexander out of Toledo. He's a big pass rusher as well. He's out of a small school, obviously Toledo and the MAC. He's not going to give you everything you want all around in terms of the runs, fits, and the pass game. But I think that would be something that would boost their inside. But for me, I think they really need to go ahead and get somebody that's a bigger body so they can keep Ed Oliver out there. I don't want to keep trying to replace or spell Ed Oliver. I don't want to spell anybody.
Right.
I think that Dwayne Carter pickup was an idea that they were going to have as a long-term rotational guy with Ed Oliver, and I think that's inherently wrong. You got to have your starters, and you bring them out when they can't do what they're supposed to do any longer. I'm trying to see here.
A couple comments here. Outside looking in says Brady wouldn't make a good head coach. Maybe in years, but not anytime soon. Salvi says being continuously states it's a big man's game, probably sending the message to McDermott's small, quick philosophy. You know what? Let me ask you this real quick.
Go ahead.
The small, quick philosophy. He didn't start with that in 2017. He had some big guys on the defensive line. He still had Marcel Darius. They didn't get rid of him till 18. Mm-hmm. After that, he had Kyle Williams. That was kind of his playmaker on the defensive line, so to speak. But I guess the question I'm trying to get to is, did we shrink that much from what we had before?
Let's see. Who do we have? I'm going to try to pull up real quick to refresh the actual defensive line room. He came in 2017. So our defensive tackle consisted of, where are we? Okay. So defensive tackle wise, we had Marcel Darius, Cedric Thornton, which I don't remember. I know Jarrell Worthy was small. Nearly Cappy was a small guy. He didn't really play at all.
I'll pull up Thornton.
Yeah, because I'm not sure who that was, but actually, I'll probably just click on him. I want to do that. 6'4", 290. So no, he's small.
Yep, smaller side.
Yes, he's small. I'm 6'6", 280. Fine. We had Kyle Williams. We had Shaq Lawson, Eddie Yarborough, who was a little guy as well. So no, 2017 they weren't big.
Yeah.
2018.
Because I guess I'm thinking back to, didn't we have who was the other defensive coordinator that we had that they wanted to go small and fast? Was it
small and fast?
Small and fast.
I'm trying to think of the teams we had. So
was it Doug Marone's guy, George Edwards, or no? I think that was Gailey's guy. Wasn't
Gailey's guy. Marone had Pettin. Was it Pettin?
No,
it wasn't Pettin.
I don't know because Pettin came with Rex.
That's right. Then who did Marone have?
Jim Schwartz, I think. Yep. Thank you, Mark.
Was he small and
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, well, because he ran that wide 9 system.
He did run a wide 9.
The wide 9 system is pretty much all speed.
Who did he? We had Mario Williams out there though.
Yeah, well,
at 290.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, what year was that? Was 2011-ish? 2000
somewhere around there.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll say 12. We'll go 12.
Well, Schwartz was.
Matter of fact, it says it right here. What am I doing?
Yeah,
that's Dave Weinstead.
He was under Marone, wasn't he?
This was.
No, it was before Gailey, wasn't it?
Let's see. Okay, so no. Okay, so we had Schwartz, Was the Maroon. Okay.
He was under Marone.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
Okay.
So that makes sense. So we had Mario already, and then we had So Schwartz would have been.
Thank you, chat. Finally got
Corbin Brandt, Little, Stephen Charles, who I actually thought was small. He was small too. Yeah, they were small.
Whoa!
Jerry
Really?
Hughes. What's up?
Really, Laura? Now. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I'm in shock. I'm in shock right now. Laura says, honestly, I have to see how the season plays out. If he fumbles, there's a real possibility Mafia will get the guillotine out and Pagula won't be able to fight it. LOL. You know how much grief she used to give me during the season when I was talking like that? I'm like, I have no hair left because I pulled it out.
Hey.
After all of our conversations,
She knows.
I pulled it
That's
off.
why she said it.
Laura, I love you. I'm
she
not
LOL.
trying to bag on you. I think it's great that you're putting this stuff out there because it needs to be said.
She LOL about your hair 'cause
at
it's gone
some
now
point,
'cause of
enough
this.
has to be enough. We have too good of a quarterback for the position that we're in right now, and when you have a guy like Josh Allen that has covered up so many holes on this team, I think we're like the conversation we're having now about the deficit of talent that we have. Like, how did we do all of this? Because to be real, like we didn't have a bounty of talent before this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like real consistent talent. We haven't had that in Sean McDermott's in his entire tenure.
Yep.
Right? So to have gone to now 2 AFC championship games and all that kind of stuff, it's like, Josh is the best. Josh is the best. I don't you can say what you want about Mahomes, Josh is the best. But I digress.
Yeah, I was going to answer Spin. Actually, who was it? Was it Lynn? Yeah, Lynn. And Spin kind of hit it. But what happened with Schwartz? Schwartz wanted the job when they got rid of Marone. But they went a separate way. Because I remember, I think it was who was the guy? I keep forgetting his name. The guy from Cincinnati, black guy. I forget it's the coach.
Oh, Mike Edwards.
Mike what?
Mike Edwards, the head coach.
Yeah, no, he was bald-headed guy from.
Oh,
Cincinnati.
Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson was supposed to be was the heir apparent for the Marone job, but what happened was, who was it? Russ Brandon said that Rex Ryan would be better for the organization to get than Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson wanted to keep Schwartz, and Rex Ryan came in and said Schwartz could stay, but he wanted to run his own defense, and Schwartz said hell no. So he scooted out of here and went on to bigger and better things elsewhere. That's what happened with Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
So no, it wasn't McDermott. He's not that much of a villain.
Yeah.
yeah,
Schwartz
no.
is over in Cleveland now, right? Still over there?
Yeah. I mean, he's got Myles Garrett, so whatever.
Oh well, that's true.
But no, I think even during that 2015 season that we went to a 3-4 with Dennis Thurman, and how did that go?
Yeah. All right. Quick question before we get back to the question about best fits for the Bills.
Yep.
Right. With the salary cap being where it is now, how does Myles Garrett contract look to you now? Now that you know we're going in $13.8 million in salary cap space. That's before the Bills make any other contract moves, extend anybody, free up any more space. Yeah, I mean, you got Von Miller, with $8 million sitting there waiting to be had if you wanted it. Restructuring Josh probably gives you another 7 to 10.
I mean, I'm still not there, but
Okay.
I mean, I think what it is for me with Myles Garrett is 35 M's or whatever the case may be in 30 years old. It just doesn't sit well in my spirit. I know how good of a player he is. I know what he's capable of, but it just doesn't sit well in my spirit. I want young talent. I want our guy.
What if so given Bean's history of bringing in these developmental guys, right? It's kind of like, because I've been struggling with this, with this thought too, because I from the beginning, I've been saying, no, Myles Garrett is going to choke your salary cap space. You're not going to be able to get a guy like who I think No Bones asked us earlier in the show about Javon Holland. If you get Myles Garrett, Javon Holland is not even a conversation. You can't get his market value is $15 million right now.
But you know what I noticed about Spot Track? They're wrong as hell.
Are they?
Spot Track they always overinflate everything.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So I look at it with a grain of salt. I'll take $3 million off of whatever they say, and that's the number. Whatever they say, take $3 million off. There you go.
$12 million is still a number you can't do with Myles Garrett.
No. Well, you could. You would be able to do nothing else.
Right.
Like literally nothing else.
That's why I'm saying you can't get Javon. Like having a Myles Garrett here chokes out your salary cap in terms of you have to draft everybody else. You cannot go and sign a marquee player in free agency. You can go and get some of the guys that I mentioned a couple of episodes ago that are on that B list, but could come here and overachieve. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the dichotomy I'm struggling with here, which is you get Myles Garrett, you're guaranteeing production immediately in what is probably your next best Super Bowl window. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying it was ever closed, but like we just went to an AFC Championship game, so now you get immediate production in the door, and all of your ancillary pieces, the other guys, your corners that are going to be playing behind Garrett, your one tech, those can be your developmental guys, because Myles Garrett is going to cover up a lot of stuff for you on defense. But if you go the other way, you got money for Javon Holland. And now you got young stud pass rusher, young stud one tech. You know what I'm saying? Like, which seems better to you?
I think for me, I go to the route of Javon Holland. I would go that way.
Okay.
I think it's intriguing to have a bona fide safety back there, barring injury. Because you look at Holland versus Rapp and Bishop and whoever else. Bean didn't close the door on DeMar Hamlin, which I think is not starting. I'm not going there, but I'm just saying, he could be in play as a Bill next year, because why wouldn't he want to come back? And I don't think his number is going to be that high. I think he is the kind of guy, if he doesn't get an offer from Pittsburgh, would want to come back to Buffalo at a salary that's not laughable, in the tune of $2 million a season or something like that. So even saying all that, Javon Holland upgrades all that. He cleans all that up, and then you can go ahead and get yourself another cornerback to pair with Benford.
Yeah.
And what that does is that allows you to get a lesser talent than Myles Garrett. That's still a great talent to pass rush, and that cleans all that up for cheaper than paying $35 for one guy. And I know, like I said, I get why people want Garrett. I get it. Khalil Mack, not so much, but
no,
I get it, and I like that people are thinking like that, but we know how our organization operates. Bean said in his press conference, he said that, what did he say? He said, when a trade's made, doesn't mean we didn't try. It just means that, maybe they said they don't want to put the person in the AFC. Maybe they don't like what we had to offer. Maybe they just told me, we'll call you when we want to do something. When we're done. We don't want to do anything with this guy.
Right.
He said a lot of stuff happened. So I don't think a lot of level-headed Bills fans think that they're not trying, whether it's right or wrong. But I think what it is that we have to really think about and put our GM caps on. You have a salary cap, and I know people, it's not real to set in third. It's real, very real, because we're seeing it now. We wouldn't have these shows right now if we could do whatever we want. We wouldn't have to talk about how do you make it fit. But no, I think getting that safety allows your defensive line to get home. The problem with what we had last year was our back four was horrible. Mm-hmm. They were horrible. I'll say 3 out of the 4 were most times not good.
Yeah.
So what does that do? Bean or McDermott said in their press conference, we noticed that guys were getting the ball a lot quicker than we thought they would. Why is that? Because they're always open.
Yep.
Is it because of your talent or is it because of your scheme? It's both. I think Roy asked that question about an hour ago. I'm sorry, Roy. I hope you're still watching. But I think the pitfalls we see on defense come from a combination of marriage of the scheme and the players that we have, the talent. So you have to shore that up, and I think the best way to shore it up right now is to get that secondary covered, and you can get your draft, because like I said, I don't think Starks is going to be there. I don't think even Warrior's going to be there. If you want Makuba, you want to go any further in the well with Sigil or something like that. Mm-hmm. They are talented players, and I would be fine putting them with somebody that's been in the league already, which would be Holland, or somebody that actually has shown a propensity to be a name in this league.
Right.
So.
Right.
yeah, for that very reason, I think you definitely want to go ahead and get that safety.
Yeah, I do love the prospects of bringing in name guys to groom these rookies.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just give me any old, washed up veteran that his name doesn't mean much in the league anymore, and he's going to come in here and perpetuate your culture. Like, that's not enough. We need guys that these young players can aspire to be like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That was one of the powers that Ray Lewis had. Any guy that came on this defense, he was the culture setter. That's how Terrell Suggs came in and became a dude. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Ed Reed came in and became a dude. All these guys were up under Ray Lewis's leadership. But Ray Lewis was a name before he was a leader. You know what I'm saying? So I think I really do like the sound of having a Javon Holland paired with a Cole Bishop as opposed to having a Taylor Rapp paired with a Cole Bishop. Yeah. And I think that immensely helps I'm forgetting the corner's name now. Christian Benford. I think that helps him immensely on the back end because now he didn't have to cover up for a safety that's not in position. Yeah. And I think he spent a lot of last season doing that. We didn't have two great cover safeties. We had two box safeties pretty much. Yeah. And Taylor Rapp just happened.
They could. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and even with Cole Bishop, like. Let's be real. He's a box safety. Yeah. He's the Jordan Poyer type. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. I think he has the potential to develop into a Jordan Poyer. The only difference is Jordan Poyer played corner before, yep. So he had coverage ability in college. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Cole Bishop didn't do that. He's only ever been a safety. He's only ever been a box safety. So. Put him in his natural position. Don't force him to play, out of his comfort zone early. Let him build into that Jordan Poyer type that can still play some man coverage here and there when you need it and is great at disguising because he understands, both positions of corner and safety. You know what I'm saying? Like a guy needs that kind of stuff up under his belt before he can get out there and be great. I will say this. It still scares me having to rely on the defensive line talent that they'll bring in, even after signing a guy like Javon Holland, because we haven't seen the Bills be able to make a first-round pick that comes in and gets 10 sacks his first season. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Greg Rousseau was supposed to be the best thing since sliced bread coming in here as a pass rusher. And you were the first person that told me as soon as we drafted, he's not a pass rusher, mm-hmm. right? He's an edge defender, right? He will wall off the run game for you. He will be great in the run. He can apply pressure, but he needs that great pass rusher across from him for him to be great. So we're going into 2025. If we go the route of, signing a Javon Holland and not getting Myles Garrett, we're going into 2025 with two guys on our defensive line that need two other guys just to be successful mm-hmm. and to play at an elite level. Mm-hmm. I don't like what that sounds like. But to what Spin said earlier, he said, you go out, what's going on, Rich? He said McDermott for president.
I know.
Hey, we're getting closer and closer to that. I mean, the more we talk.
Right. Why not?
But I think with if you get a guy like Myles Garrett, you're not going to have the money to pay Greg Rousseau. He's going to have to leave. You're going to have to trade him.
Yeah, he's definitely the first thing smoking out of here if you get a Myles Garrett. So anybody that thinks that you're going to pair them together is not going to happen.
Right. It's just not feasible, with the cap unless you plan on cutting a lot of fat off of your offense, but you don't have any because everybody's either young or locked into long contracts.
Everybody's eating their ration.
Right.
No leftovers.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
I think Lynn, yes, don't you think that if the Bills had a good nose tackle that would improve the entire defense? Not the whole defense. The defensive line, probably, but not the whole defense. I think what it is right now is you if you get to see what it is if you get the defensive line shored up and you leave that secondary, the linebacking scheme, whatever you want to call it, that's playing right into the hands of everybody that wants to play against us. They're throwing the ball quickly. Mm-hmm. So, they're not running on it. We're not talking about run game. They'll help with the run game, but there's nothing stopping a team from thinking for a second. You got to think. The quarterback has to read something, and the Bills aren't giving the quarterback any kind of confusion, anything like that. And that's where I give pushback to Kevin, who said safeties don't. I'm sorry. What did he say? He said it in here somewhere. However it goes, he was basically saying quarterbacks don't fear safety. That's what he said. Quarterbacks don't fear safeties. If you have the right safeties, quarterbacks have to know where they are. I mean, it's a natural fact. Quarterbacks, they know where the safety is.
Yeah.
That's like saying nobody feared Ed Reed, nobody feared Polamalu, nobody feared. No, yes, they did, because if they weren't throwing an interception, they were worried about getting their wide receiver's head knocked off by a safety.
Yep.
So I think I get what you're saying, because, like I said a lot of times, it plays hand in hand. You can't just get one and say I'm good. You got to get both somewhere. Not Myles Garrett both, but you got to touch both. And that's where, when you come into the draft, you have to knock whatever you don't get in free agency.
Yeah. Bone said, like I said, trade Rousseau's for Garrett, or commit to Groot. I don't want to stay on that too long. We only got about 5 minutes left. Hot Wheels, what's going on? I ain't seen you in a minute. Says McDermott has stated that he doesn't pick the players that he's given. He can only make what I imagine he's trying to say, what he has work. Mm-hmm. That you have to talk with Bean on who we are getting. Heard this once this offseason. Okay, so if I'm trying to make my brain understand this.
Let's see. McDermott has stated that he doesn't pick the players that he's given. He can only make what he has.
Yeah, so basically he's saying, Sean is, I guess in a sense, take some of the heat off of Sean, because he's doing the best with what he's given. And I mean, I'm leaning that way now with Bean's performance.
It's weird, because if you watch those shows, those behind the scenes shows in the draft, just look at everybody's face when Bean makes a pick. They pick Keon. I'll look for Brady right away. I said, he looks like whatever. He's like, I didn't really ask for that, but I'll make it work. See, that's the problem with Brady. We don't have anybody on this team, anybody in this organization that says, hell no. It's always, I'll make it work. But you don't. You got Josh, you got James Cook, you got Shakir. But outside of that, you don't.
Right.
And after a while, teams are going to be like, how do I break that down? How do I make them decide which one they want to use, because they're not using all three. And that's what's going to happen next year. And that's when you go ahead and get your Isaiah Bond, you get your Matthew Golden. I'm speaking into existence. Somebody like the guy Savion Williams to talk about. He does a lot of different stuff. He runs the ball. He catches the ball. He's a big body. That kind of stuff causes confusion to defenses. Yeah. I see him out here, but I don't know what he's going to do. James Cook, he can't pass. You talk about that for a second.
What?
I sent you that thing about the pass blocking need of a running back.
Yes.
Is it really a need, or is that what people tell you? That's propaganda, because everybody talks about Saquon. They talk about Derrick Henry. They talk about, none of those guys are good pass blockers.
Yeah, Saquon is probably the only one that's in on third downs about as much, about as much, if not slightly less than a Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, and the thing is, you think about what could you do to mitigate a James Cook on third down if you can't pass block. I thought he came in as a receiving running back.
Exactly. Send him on a route.
Put him in the slot. Make a mismatch with a linebacker.
Yep.
You see what he does with the ball in his hands. What do you think he's going to do when he's trying to get the ball in his hands?
Right.
And then you got him taking the linebacker out. What does Josh Allen get to do? Run.
Yeah.
Because you got to watch him. You got weapons all around. You just got to figure out how to make it work better.
The other part of that too is when you look at what the Bills were under Brian Daboll when they were an air raid offense. Mm-hmm. They did do that with their running backs. They sent the running backs out on routes. It was just 5 protecting Josh. Yep. And even then, Josh's sack numbers were still about where they were last year, which is tops in the league. Mm-hmm. So, the respect that's given to some of these cliche things that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott say about what their expectation is of a player, it might be time to start rethinking some of that stuff, because in today's day and age with where the game is, you just, like, running backs just don't play that way anymore. You know what I'm saying? And the guys that do stay in are like the, like the Joe Mixon, a guy who is a number one running back, who is a 3-down back in terms of being able to catch the ball, but he's also big enough to pass block and do it well. You know what I'm saying?
Warren, you got Connor. I think Connor was
James
the
Conner,
leading one.
Exactly.
Would you rather have James Conner or James Stark or James Cook?
Right. That's what we need to ask ourselves, because the playmakers at running back, the guys that are top dogs in the league, they're catching the ball on third down. They're not pass blocking. You know what I mean? So, it's a lot of this. We kind of have to understand that it might just be coach speak and GM speak and things that they have to say in order to answer the questions without really having to answer the question. Yeah. And as somebody who covers the Bills, that kind of gets old after a while, and I want to hear something different that gives me, like, and I know I've said this before, but it's like if you're an employee and you screw up a job that I send you on, and you come back to me and you give me this BS reasoning, I'm going to be kind of leery on sending you out on another job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to want to hear that you think something different from what you originally thought when you screwed up. Right? But if I'm not hearing you say anything different from when you screwed up, you're still saying the same old, with maybe a little bit of icing on top of that of I'm sorry and that won't happen again. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't get behind that. I have to see a complete, shift. You know what I'm saying? I understand where I went wrong. I'm going to do things differently this time. Okay, well, how? Well, I'm going to do this, and this. Okay, sounds like a plan. Go for it. And if that don't work, I expect the same thing next time. All right, well, this didn't work. Why? How did it go wrong? Why did it go wrong? We got to contextualize these things. We can't keep allowing these quasi reasons to keep existing as to why the Bills have not gotten the job done. You have the best quarterback in the league. I'm sorry, I don't care what KC says. I don't care what the hardware says. To me, that's more of an Andy Reid favor than it is for a Patrick Mahomes accomplishment. Mm-hmm. Like, Andy Reid is the best offensive mind in the last 20 years. The man, I'm about to piss Keyshawn off, but Andy Reid was winning games with Todd Pinkston and James Thrash.
Thanks, man.
Like, what are we talking about right now? And he can't get it done with a guy that is just as good as Josh Allen?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, we gotta stop crowning this damn dude, man. He's not better than Josh. He's not. There's not one thing that he does is better than Josh.
Yeah, I mean, Josh and Lamar should take the league by storm at some point. But yeah, you're right. I mean, the wow factor, the it factor, Mahomes is a solid quarterback, and he plays the system very well. But the other two that we mentioned, those two are guys. I'm sorry, Dorothy's gonna hate me for this because she goes back and forth with the Ravens fans all the time. But I think those two are the ones that have it. Now, the only difference between us and the Ravens is the Ravens are like, okay, Lamar used to run a lot with Roman. He ran all the time.
Yep.
Okay, we see he can do that. Check. Let's give him a receiver. Mm-hmm. Wow, he can play a receiver. Mm-hmm. Check. Let's give him another one. Wow, see how they're building around him?
Yep.
How their team is coming full circle? Oh, we got a running quarterback. Let's give him one of the best running backs in the league. Check.
Yep.
That's how you build a team.
Exactly.
And the Bills are like, as long as if I hear anybody in the Bills organization say, as long as we got Josh, we got a chance. How do you say that? What is y'all doing?
About to hear some of this going on.
Dude, I just don't understand. I don't get it. And I challenge people to tell me who the best pass blocking running backs are in the league. I really wish they would.
Yeah.
Running backs. Tommy, you'll like this. I would say if you quantify it, 20% of the highest pass blocking snaps in the league, Devin Singletary is number 4 in PFF ranking in pass blocking.
Wow.
You got James Conner, Zach Charbonnet. I'm not putting Juszczyk in there because he's a fullback. J.K. Dobbins, Hunter Lupke. He probably a fullback too. Rashad White, Javonte Williams, Patrick Ricard. Oh, he's a fullback. Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle. So out of those, how many of those guys would you rather have over James Cook?
None. The answer is none. Nobody say anything.
So you just got to be creative. When you know what your guy can and can't do, you got to be creative.
Rich said, as long as we have McDermott, we will be okay. I will see your Josh Allen point and raise you a Sean McDermott.
So we got to give him something. What do we call him then? Because we say as long as you have 17, you got a chance. So what was McDermott? As long as we got to come up with something for him. He's got to have. He can't be called McDermott. He's got to have something. I'll work on that.
What? Oh, you talking about like a moniker? Like
like something. Yeah, something with him. It's got to be something.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it
out. Steve says, exactly, okay, no Super Bowl champion has ever been described as okay. Let Miami be okay. Exactly. Let the Jets be okay. Let them go get Justin Fields and be okay.
No, Laura, we're not doing that. We're not going to start enticing this guy to put that more often. We're not doing it.
Oh, my gosh. Mark says, as long as you have Mr. Clapp. Oh, there you go. McClappy, right?
McClappy.
You used to call him McClappy. There you go.
I used to call him both McBeanhead, McClapp. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Lynn says durable Dermot.
Well.
Oh, all right. We got to get out of here. I am going to go ahead and get the music. What? What's going on?
So all week I've been feeling parched.
You been thirsty?
And
That's funny because I have too. We've been playing division and man.
Yeah.
my brother,
Yeah,
you know what we need, right?
I do.
What do we need, Key?
When we play the division, sometimes we be yelling at the guys. You call them the chungas, and I'm like, yeah, we gotta knock these dudes down. And then I'm like, you know what? I'll be right back, guys, because I gotta get me some Reese tea.
Reese tea.
It's refreshing. It's delicious, and when I'm shooting them chungas down, it's very, very relaxing.
Oh yeah.
But it's also healthy. It's 2 parts healthy at that. But what can you expect when you have 4 ingredients?
Just 4.
Just 4. We already know what the 4 are too, so there's no secret. I don't even drink tea, but let me tell you, that's a good drink there. What are you doing? Head over to Reese. Get yourself a supply by the case or individual. What are you doing? Get that case. You won't be disappointed.
That's
but what do I know? See for yourself. Reese Tea. Click the link in the description below. Let them know Post Podium Podcast sent you.
Rich said, hey, Damaris, where's my tea? Don't leave this show until I get some. He was promised some, too. Damaris did say that. He said he's going to get him some tea.
McClappy likes Reese Tea.
All right. The link for Reese tea is in the description. It's the best tea you've ever tasted. I promise you that. Okay, this tea is gonna be everywhere. All right, so get in before it gets too big for you to get a hold of. I promise you. What?
You can't say get a hold of.
No,
I don't know.
Before it gets too big to get a hold of.
Oh,
that's what he coming at.
I guess so.
I'm not pushing the button. I'll give you half a button. How's that? That's it. That's all you got. You got the beginning of an AO. Goodness gracious. I can't do nothing with this dude.
No, you can't.
All right. We got to get out of here. Where's this music at? All right. If you hear that music, that means it's time for me to get out of here. I got 90 seconds because my man OLI is back in the building. Look. All right, look, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you've enjoyed what you watched today, please, could you give us a like? Could you give us a subscribe? Follow us on YouTube. Follow us everywhere, all right? Bills Mafia, Buffalo fan base. You can also go over to our Post Podium Podcast YouTube channel if you want to see more of our content. We got film review stuff that I do with Bills alum Damaris Johnson there. You can check that out. We'll be doing more of that stuff during the season. We have a merch page for the Post Podium Podcast. That link is in the description. Also, you can go there if you like these hoodies and you want to get some of the swag. You can go ahead and tap that link and get some of your own. I don't have anything else. We are Mondays and Fridays typically 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're not doing Friday shows during the off season right now, so that'll start back up in August. Probably do that back in back in August.
Yep, you got 20 seconds.
All right, yeah, I know. I got to get out of here. All right, look, I thank you to everybody who's been tuning in. This has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I have been your co-host, Aramis,
40 Keys.
and we out of here.
Deuces.
Peace.